This is a video presentation of measuring the costs of environmental restrictions on hydropower operations, a paper presented at the meetings of the International Association of Impact Assessment in New Orleans, May 1997. The authors of this study are Brian Edwards, Richard Howitt, and Sam Flaim. Since most abstractions are best understood with some concrete examples, we begin with a few pictures of the Flaming Gorge Dam and Reservoir, which are located in northeastern Utah on the Green River, a tributary of the Colorado. Although all hydropower dams and reservoirs are unique, our method applies to all. We will show you how the general method is used to assess the costs of environmental restrictions at Flaming Gorge. To be specific, Flaming Gorge is one of the 4 units of the Colorado River Storage Project, which was authorized by Congress April 11, 1956. The dam was completed in 1964. Water releases are in some cases regulated by treaties among states and Mexico. The dam is an impressive structure rising 502 feet above bedrock. The reservoir stores about 3.8 million acre-feet of water, and the surface area of the reservoir is about 42,000 acres, stretching about 91 miles to the north towards Green River and Rock Springs, Wyoming. A full description of the assessment method, including all equations, is available from the authors. Under normal operation, all water released from the dam flows through large pipes called penstocks into the power plant to turn turbines that generate electricity. This is a picture of the jet valve allowing water to bypass the generators. Water bypassing the generators is called spillage. The Flaming Gorge power plant has 3 generators, 50 megawatts each, which produce nearly 500,000 megawatt hours annually. The dam and power plant are operated by the Bureau of Reclamation, but the power produced from Flaming Gorge and other units of the Colorado River Storage Project are marketed by the Western Area Power Administration. To understand how hydropower operations can affect the environment, one must first understand that electricity production follows electricity demand. In general, electricity demand follows human activity. High demand during the day, low demand at night. To minimize the cost of meeting this demand, or meeting Western's contract commitments, hydropower generation follows demand because hydropower is relatively inexpensive, and generation patterns are flexible with small efficiency losses for increasing or decreasing generation from hour to hour. Many thermal plants take hours to reach efficient production levels, and most thermal plants, for a number of reasons, are more expensive to operate than the hydropower units of the Colorado River Storage Project. This is a diagram showing generation at Glen Canyon Dam, the largest unit of the Colorado River Storage Project, which comprises more than 2/3 of average generation available to Western to serve customer loads. The graph shows instantaneous discharges and generation during September 1982. Note that maximum releases during the day are 28 times larger than releases during the night. In September 1982, generation ranged from about 40 to 1,100 megawatts every 24 hours. This diurnal cycling is the major environmental concern about hydropower operations. Dams and reservoirs have had many benefits and environmental impacts not related to hydropower generation. Irrigation of arid land was a principal justification for building dams. Irrigation consumes water, hydropower generation does not. Flood control has been another justification for building dams, which impound sediment and store water, whether equipped with power plants or not. Flat water recreation on reservoirs has little to do with hydropower generation, although our model shows how reservoir levels are affected by releasing water to generate electricity. Sport fishing is another benefit of building dams. This is a picture of Little Hole, a favorite trout fishing area on the Green River below Flaming Gorge Dam. The trout fishery was created when the dam was built. The Green River, which once ran with warm, turgid water during the summer, now runs clear and cold. Excellent habitat for sport fishing. The fishery below Flaming Gorge extends to Dinosaur National Monument. This is Echo Park in Dinosaur, at the confluence of the Yampa and the Green. Rafting is a popular recreational activity below Flaming Gorge. Some like it hot, some like it slow. Those are some of the effects of dams and reservoirs, but we are concerned with the specific environmental effects of producing electricity. We've been talking a little bit about diurnal cycling. high flows during the day and low flows at night. This warning sign sums it up pretty well. Water subject to sudden rise and violent turbulence. After sounding of a warning horn, proceed immediately to safety. A sudden rise in flow levels and turbulence cause a change in in-stream flow rates. Changes in flow rates are easily observed below the dam, but the effects attenuate further downstream.
Yeah. You think I'm okay? What?
These rafters on the green are enjoying a high flow release.
On the new policy, I'm getting a dunning notice saying I haven't paid the premium.
When in-stream flow rates fluctuate, pool levels rise and fall, affecting fish habitat and spawning areas.
526-5199.
This is the Green River in Canyon lands, too far downstream to be affected by hourly changes in stream flow, but pool levels even this far down the river are affected by seasonal release patterns and releases over a period as short as a few days. Water temperatures are affected by hydropower generation, although a selective intake structure at Flaming Gorge permits warm surface waters to be mixed with cold subsurface water to achieve a desired temperature range. The selective intake structure is on the extreme left-hand side of this picture. The chemical and physical composition of the water can be affected by hydropower operations. Fluctuating flows can erode beaches and stream beds.
Alrighty, thank you. Bye.
This is a picture of beach erosion below Glen Canyon Dam. It is hard to tell what the beach once looked like. Hydropower production can also affect habitat for terrestrial species, increasing habitat for some and reducing habitat for others. This is a scene from the North Platte, a major flyway for North American migratory species. To illustrate how hourly flows can change over a period of months, we use generation data from Glen Canyon because the hourly events vary so widely. Generation data from Flaming Gorge, which we will show in a minute, varies by a factor of 3 or 4. Recall the generation at Glen Canyon varied by a factor of 28. We have created a three-dimensional data block that is 24 hours wide and 92 days long. This data block shows every hour of generation during the first quarter of 1983 at Glen Canyon. The values range from a low of about 40 megawatts, shown in red, to a high of 1100 megawatts, shown in purple. When generation follows load, the pattern of releases can vary widely over a few hours and a few days. This is a top view of the 3D data block, which is 24 hours wide and 92 days long. In this instance, and for the diagrams that follow, AM hours are on the left, PM on the right, and the beginning of the period is at the bottom of your screen. The end of the period is at the top. Moving the data block down to see the end of the period, pay particular attention to the double hump in the release pattern. Notice that generation at Glen Canyon often peaked twice a day. This is an orthogonal view of the data block, keeping AM on the left and PM on the right. The beginning of the period is closest to the viewer. We use a series of static pictures to show how a flyover of the data might look at different points along the data set. These images were rendered on an engineering workstation which has 8 times better resolution than this videotape. Once the data block is rendered from the data set, the image can be manipulated interactively to examine anomalies, holes in the data set, and data values that outlie the range of expected values. Even with low video resolution, the pattern of releases is easily observed. This perspective permits viewing the entire period at one time. We have shown you a pictorial